Happy Wednesday, second grade. So today we're going to continue on talking about chapter 11. How can one person make a difference in a community? So let's do a quick review from yesterday. Here we have the picture from a long time ago back in Chicago where there was kids playing in unsafe streets. They were unsupervised. They had dangerous areas around them. And Jane Addams provided those children with a safe place to play. And here's a picture of Jane Addams. So that's how she was one person that made a big difference in a lot of children's lives. Then over here, we had the traffic jam. This was in Ohio, where the streetlights, they were only green and red, go and stop. And it was kind of confusing for the people driving. So Garrett Morgan invented the traffic light to make his community safer. And he just added that yellow color feature to the traffic light. So there was a stop, slow down, and go light. And that helped control traffic a little better. So Garrett Morgan was just one person that made a contribution to his community to make it safer. And then other people adopted his traffic light and other communities were safer as well. Okay, so let's move on. So we're going to look at two more communities from the past that needed some help and how one person changed each community. So this is a picture of the Omaha Indian Reservation around 1890. So you can see that the people in this community often had no doctor. They used teepees for homes. So I'm assuming that this lady is trying to take care of her sick child. When they got sick, there was no doctor to help them get better. So they just kind of had to wait it out, and there was no medicine. There were people didn't know how to handle sicknesses because they weren't educated. You can see they all live in teepees. There's not much around. They live in like the country. So there was one person who decided to help. Susan LaFleche Pica helped sick people. Susan LaFleche Pica lived from 1865 to 1915. She was an American Indian. She lived in the state of Nebraska. People in her community got sick from time to time, but often there was no doctor to help them. This made young Susan sad. And here's a picture of Susan. So she was noticing these people in the communities that didn't have any medical care. It made her really sad when people were sick. So she decided she was going to make a change. So when she grew up, she went away to school. She studied hard to become a doctor. She wanted to care for American Indians in her community that were sick, that needed care. Dr. Pickett rode a horse to visit her patients. Later, she started her own hospital. Dr. Pickett helped her community by caring for sick people. So here's another way how just one person made a big difference in her community. And then other people started going to school to become doctors, and there were more and more doctors in our world. So here you have a picture of people in farmyards. They are farm workers. Why might this kind of work be hard? Look at the house in the background. Does it look like a nice place to live? Why or why not? So if you can picture, it's a sunny day, maybe like really hot, and you have these people working out all day in the fields. It's probably very hot and very strenuous to like be bending down and picking up crops. And they had to do this by hand all day in the hot sun. So not very safe, and they didn't get paid very much. And if you look in the background, you can see their house. All these people lived in one little house. So they didn't make enough money to buy a house. They all had to share this teeny tiny house. So they worked very hard in the fields, but they did not make enough money. So this bothered some people. Luis Valdez helped farm workers. Luis Valdez was born in 1940. He lived in a community of farm workers. His parents were farmers. He grew up on a farm. He was working on a farm since he was 6 years old. And he was ashamed at how hard his family worked for how little pay they got. So he knew they worked hard, and he knew that they did not have nice homes. So as Valdez got older, he decided to write about his experiences, and he would write plays about how hard their lives were. and he became he opened up a theater, and he took actors from farm to farm on trucks. They performed these plays in the fields. Many farm workers saw his plays, so did other people. So Luis Valdez helped people learn about the farm worker struggles. Luis Valdez had people by teaching them. He taught farm workers that they could have better lives. He taught other people that they could help the farm workers. So Luis Valdez wanted to be proactive for these people who were working very hard for little money. So he wanted to educate people on what's happening, and he did this by writing plays and taking the plays on the road to educate people about the hard lives of farmers. And then Luis Valdez actually ended up being a very famous director, directing famous movies and stuff. So that was just one person that made a big difference in people's lives. So it is very possible for one person to make a huge difference in a community. We just read about 4 people who did that. There are many, many others. You can think about how you can make a difference in your own community. It could be something little, it could be something big, it could be something that you want to help your family with, or people at school, or people in your neighborhood, or people in your building, anything. So it's a pretty big deal. All right, so for your task today, I would like you to kind of find the match here. So I want you to draw a line from each sentence on the left. So we have 8 sentences that describe how someone helped people. So the first one says, she helped city children. I want you to draw a line from she helped city children to actually who did it. Did this gentleman do it? Did she do it? Did he help, or did she help? And if you remember, she helped city children. It was Jane Addams who saw those kids in the street, and they had unsafe surroundings, so she decided to build the Hull House for them. So you would draw a line from here to Jane Addams, and do the same for all 8.